Hi everybody, Lisa here, the Vera Bradley bag of the day. It's Wallet Wednesday, so I know I just did a video about the Stephanie bag and said I was going to go downstairs and do my wallet video, but that didn't really work out because of this guy, so I just stayed in place. And I'm excited to talk about this wallet because I can tie it into my recent online um, outlet sale haul, which isn't a huge haul because I don't have a lot of money right now. But I did notice that, with the exception of my Hadley tote in Super Bloom, which came separate anyway, um, everything else I ordered was in a Lighten Up fabric, which I didn't even notice at the time, and I didn't do intentionally. So it makes me laugh a little bit because I feel like I'm coming a little late to the Lighten Up party, but I finally arrived, and I just thought I would talk about these three Lighten Up patterns because I just love them. They're really my favorite Lighten Up patterns so far, and I invite anyone who has a favorite Lighten Up pattern to list it in the comments because I'm just getting to know the Lighten Up line. Like, I'm just starting to pay attention to it, so I probably you know could use people calling out pattern names for me to look at. That would be helpful. um, so this is the, did I have tags? Yeah, I have tags somewhere. Did I stick them in here? Yes, I did. Oh, good, I was efficient. Because I never remember the names of anything. So this is the, oh my gosh, Lighten Up RFID All In One Crossbody. And this is Splash Dot. And I know this is a crossbody bag, but I use it as a wallet, which is why I'm talking about it on Wallet Wednesday. But I do have a signature cotton version of it here, and I'll put that on as a crossbody. I have the strap on that one, so that people who use it that way can see it. And plus, there are a couple of differences, just minor differences I've noticed between the Lighten Up and the signature cotton that I just thought were kind of, well, one is interesting, and one is just a difference that I noticed. So, like I said, this is Splash Dot, and you're not going to let me get close, are you? I want to get in real close with this because this pattern just really speaks to the former art student in me, the person who took painting lessons and studied art history. I mean, I just love this look of the paint splatter here. So you've got the larger white splashes of paint that are sort of in this grid-like arrangement, which I also really like. I like the combination of the level, linear, like gridness of it, but yet these splashes, this chaotic splashing on top of it of the paint splatter look. And I think I lucked out in that the splash dots look level. You know, they don't look crooked, which I talked about, like in Chanticleer and other patterns that have a sort of repetitive motif. You want them to be aligned nicely, and I feel like that happened here. Nothing is crooked, so that's pleasing. And it's always chancy when you order something sight unseen, on the website. Ooh, I got some space. I think. And getting good and close now. So, it is I was going to say it's navy blue, but now I'm not sure if it's navy blue or black. It's hard to tell because sometimes that black can be have a very blue cast to it. But anyway, the splatters on top of the white splatters are all a couple of different shades of blue. I love this big one right front and center. It's over there too. I just love that there's variety in the blues of the splashes, and I love the look of it. I mean, it looks like there's this technique. I don't know what the like official term is, but like when you splatter, you take a paintbrush that has very stiff bristles and you load it up with paint. And then you aim it at your canvas or your surface or whatever, and you run your thumb over it, and you get these splatters. And it looks, similar to that kind of technique. Or like Jackson Pollock would take his paintbrush, and I know he was doing a lot of dripping from the cans of paint and dripping from his paintbrush, but he was also splattering like that, loading up the paintbrush and making a throwing motion at his canvas on the floor, and that can result in this kind of look as well. And so I just love that painterly, like harking to that painterly feel. Just love it. I mean, now I feel like I almost kind of missed the boat, and I just want to get everything that I can in Splashdot. Of course, I have no money right now, but anyway, hopefully it'll still be around when I get a little bit more funds and I can get a couple more things. So to talk about the item itself, there's a label there, and I noticed that's in rubber, whereas on the signature cotton it's pleather. I don't miss the pleather at all. I don't. Not a fan of the pleather. Let me just give a basic measurement here. 6.5 the long way, 4 the shorter way, and about 2 inches thick. So in the front you've got this flap. I don't have anything in here right now. It's a magnetic snap closure on this flap over this pocket. But I just have my iPod here as an example, because people might wonder if their phone would fit in there. So my iPod fits in there, but I bet you phones are a bit bigger now. So I'm not sure, if your phone model would fit in there. But like I said, this overall is about 6.5. So maybe if your phone is 6 by something, it might fit in there. And then it's got the two loops on the side for the strap, which is removable, and in the same material, the Lighten Up material and the matching pattern you can see, which that's what I prefer. I don't like whatever the item is, whether it's a bag or a wristlet or a crossbody, doesn't matter. I prefer the handle fabric to match the bag, the body of the bag, or the item fabric. I don't like when it's a solid color, microfiber, or some other fabric, or pleather. I don't like that. So this has a lobster claw clasp kind of thing on it, and it hooks on these 2 hooks on either side. Something I have noticed different with this is the actual hardware itself. This lobster claw clasp, and I don't know if they've changed it on more recent All In One Crossbody patterns. Like, this is Bordeaux Bloom, so it's not the most recent. But this hardware is round. The metal is round, and it works very easily. It works very nicely. This, I don't know if you can see it, but it's sort of flat. It's a flattened, squarish kind of piece of metal, this loop. And I do feel like it's a little stiffer and harder to work. It was harder to get on and off of the corresponding loop on here. That's just something I noticed. Same thing with the wristlet. Oh, whoops. The wristlet element. So you can use this as a wristlet as well. And on the signature items, it's pleather. So that, I have it hooked on here just for so that people can see that everything that came with this item, but I took this off immediately. And when I use this as a wallet, I take this wristlet thing off. But I have no interest in pleather at all. I don't need more pleather in my life. Vera Bradley. But the fact that this wristlet loop is this Lighten Up fabric that I love makes me feel a little bit more like I might leave it on here. I don't think I would ever carry this from this, in my hand, just let it hang down or loop it on my wrist. I would carry it like this in my hand. But it does make me, this appeals to me more. I could use this so that this is there. And maybe you could even use this as something else. Keychain, loop it onto your key ring or something. That I could see doing, making use of this because I like this fabric so much, the pattern so much. And I'm finding with this Lighten Up material, whatever it is, to me, why it's making some of these patterns so appealing is the way that it takes the ink dye, that whatever the dye is, the fabric really takes this well, and it looks very rich. It's like it's got a slight sheen to it, but it's very subtle, and it's just absorbed the dye nicely. So all the colors look very luscious and rich. So I think that's part of why all of a sudden the Lighten Up, now that I'm really looking at the Lighten Up fabrics, that's why they're appealing to me. Something about the way this fabric takes the color dye is really nice. So then you got these two zipper sections in the All In One Crossbody, and they have these pulls. They're pleather on the signature cotton. But here they're this cord. I'm not crazy about this cord. I think I've said that in another Lighten Up video. Just makes me feel like I should be going camping or something. Where's my sleeping bag and my tent? I have thought about removing these. I haven't done it yet. We'll see. But I don't know. This is a little too casual for me. This outer pocket is gusseted. Zipper pocket section is gusseted. It's got an interior zipper section. I just tend to put coins there, I guess, but I tend to put receipts there. And in this section, I've got 4 card slip, like slots, 2 on each side, and these slip pockets behind. So I have coupons in here. And I don't think I have anything in this one. I don't have anything in this one. Oops, sorry. But that's the configuration in there. And this pull is metal. The zipper pull is metal. I like this interior color. It's unfortunate, sort of sad that there's not a coordinating pattern, but on the interior fabric. But I do like that it's not black. It's a nice sort of periwinkle blue on this particular pattern. And so this other zipper section has that feature that I love. To me, it's similar. I have a similar reaction to this. When something unzips open flat, I have the same reaction that I do when I get a wallet or something with a covered magnet. Or I just go, oh, yes, I just love that. So that's why I like this, and I like using it as a wallet, because I don't do the crossbody thing, as I've said. It's just a little too small of an item. I feel like against my body, the proportions look odd. I mean, I don't ever think it looks odd on other people, really. I don't, who pays attention to what other people are doing? It doesn't bother me on other people. But for me, it just feels a little strange, so I don't do it. But anyway, up here is a slip pocket, and that's where I have my cash. It does not go down to the bottom. It stops at about here, like halfway down. So just enough for, your bills to be in there. And then, how many card slots do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 card slots, plus your window for your ID with the plastic and the cutout part there, so you can just sort of slip that out real easily. And then behind those, are just more slip slip pockets. Here too, same configuration on that side, 2 slip pockets there. So let me just if I take that out, some stuff out, it might be a little bit easier just to get a sense there, the configuration. So, this gives you a good sense of the color of this. It really is, it's a nice periwinkle blue. It has the like logo design sort of in the weave of the fabric and the RFID stamp there. So it is RFID. So now, if you were going to use this as a strap, with the strap as a crossbody, I did write down the strap lengths. Hold on, because I knew I wouldn't remember. Right, so at its shortest configuration, the strap, which is what this is, for example, is about 27. And at the longest, it's about 53, give or take. It's all sort of, it's give or take because of the hardware, which, adds length. So this is configured at 45, around 45 inches. So, there. So you can see, it hits at about my hip at that. I'm 5'4", and, like I've said, I'm probably about 125, 130 right now, as I try to squeeze my hips together. So this is where it hits on me. Again, yeah, it feels a little small for me here. So it's not for me, but, it doesn't look bad. That's what it would look like for people who might be, interested in using it that way. But I do love it as a wallet. I mean, this is the one I started using as a wallet, and that's what made me think, well, I could use it, get another one, and then, on the sale, the price was good for this, so I thought, well, let me try, and I knew I liked Splash Dot. So well, that gives me an excuse to get a little bit of Splash Dot. I do just want to call out again this, remind people this has the pleather wristlet strap. For me, not a big fan. But, and, the lobster claw clasp comes right off. I really do prefer these round ones. Let's see if I can get in close with it. See, I don't know if you can see. They're just, this one is round. This one is flat. It's flattened. And I find that this one really works better. It's not as stiff. It's just easier than this one, which is a bit tighter. The spring mechanism is real tight. So, you can even see the shape is different of the loop attached there. Here it's sort of square, rectangular, and here it's angled, where the strap's attached to the lobster claw clasp. Not a big deal, just a difference. I don't know, maybe they got a different supplier or something for their hardware. I don't know. It's the only Lighten Up. This is the only Lighten Up one that I have, so I don't know, what the hardware has been like, from pattern to pattern, whether it's changed or something. So anyway, that was my my wallet of the day, the Splash Dot All In One Crossbody in this Lighten Up fabric. But I did think I would just talk about the other Lighten Up stuff that I got, because I just love these patterns. This is Super Bloom Sketch, and this is the card case. I know I had done a previous video on the features of the card case in the signature cotton, quilted cotton, and it's the same configuration, completely the same. except for this, again, this cord that comes on the Lighten Up fabrics. But it's got that removable loop. Does open. Love that. I just love that. The same configuration, a slip pocket out back. This is rubber because it's Lighten Up, not leather. Pin snap closure under the flap. Window for your ID. A slip pocket behind this zipper section, which is gusseted and opens. It has a small zipper in the middle there, with a metal pull. This wall here has a slip pocket, and then this just the large gusseted sections for your cards or whatever, and this 2 slip pockets on the outside of this zip pocket. And so that's exactly the same as in the other video, you can see. But I just love this fabric, again, because the pattern, because let's get some light. It looks, again, like it was drawn with like a fat chisel tip magic marker. And someone just went like that and made the flower shape there. And I love that I got that orange up there. I mean, I do think that orange is kind of an underappreciated and underused color, and when it's done right, it's really appealing, very strong. Has to be the right kind of orange though. But whenever I see orange done well, I don't know, I'm just always drawn to it, and I feel like it kind of reminds me, I always think of like, I don't remember the name of it, but there's like a Pablo Neruda poem. I think there's a line, he says something like, I love your orange laughter. It's a love poem. And so whenever I see a strong orange done nicely, I always think of that. And I definitely thought of that when I saw this. So I was glad I got this sort of front and center. The back is a little bit more subdued with the light pink and the aqua and the white. Whoops. So I was pleased that I got that burst of orange up front there. And I do feel like there's something going on, like it's blowing out a little bit here because it's very bright light, but this sort of yellow-green tertiary color from the color wheel and red-violet, those are complementary colors, so they fall opposite each other on the color wheel, and so they complement each other, they highlight each other, they look good in combination, they make each other look a little bit more vivid when they're placed near each other. So I think, I haven't, really looked at this and compared it to a color wheel. I just knew that off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's other color relationships going on here. It's probably making this appealing, but I just think it's just so sweet. And I wouldn't mind getting scattered super bloom too, but they didn't have any small items and I didn't have the money to spend. But that's also kind of related to this, but very pretty. Not exactly the same. And then the other Lighten Up, I've already talked about this in another video, this Petite Vines. I just love this. There's not a thing about this pattern that I don't love. It does have, actually now I'm just looking at it, it does have little touches of purple and yellow. I think those, if you look at a color wheel, I think those might be complementary colors. And certainly you've got the yellow-green, and you've got certainly got red violets in here, and those are more complements, so that's probably why it's working. But I mean, if you just get in if I get in real close, like if you just look there, I mean, if you look at these flowers, there's detail in the centers of the flowers. These are not solid colors. They're rings of different colors giving form to these flowers, and similar here with this yellow in the center there. There we go. Again, just so pretty with the rendering on the inside of the petals there to give form to the flowers. I like these little leaves here that are sort of popping really well because they're lighter shades. So it's just very, very pretty pattern. And this is a medium cosmetic, I think. Let me look. Yep, Lighten Up medium cosmetic. It does feel a little, it's just lined with, it doesn't have like a plastic cover lining, and it is black, unfortunately, which, if you know from some of my other videos, I don't like a black interior, and I really just bought this because of the sale price, and I wanted something else that I could use in this fabric, and my choices were kind of limited. So I'm not crazy about that. I just look at, I mean, it's just a black hole to me. I mean, anyway, there's not much to say about that, and it's very soft. It doesn't have the same kind of structure as the signature, I find, as the signature cosmetic bags, because it's not quilted and it doesn't have that sort of plastic coated lining. So the whole thing just feels very collapsible, and I'm not crazy about that. I'm finding I prefer a more structured travel pouch, but I might use it for something else. And I do like this part of the construction where the fabric on the side starts under the zipper where the zipper ends, and then it wraps all the way around. So there's no seam going across on the corners. That just, the whole piece just wraps there, and I do like that. The zipper, plastic, works okay. It's got that pull tie. This one is very tight. It's very stiff zipper, this front zipper. So I'm not crazy about that. It really does require some effort to pull that. And you really got to grip on the bag. I'm not sure if that's just some kind of flaw or whether they're all like that. And something else I'm not crazy about are these little pieces of pleather, ending the zippers, the zipper here, reinforcing the ends of the zipper here. Not crazy about that brown pleather. It just seems out of place. It does have these little tabs so that you, I guess, can grip them when you work the zipper. They're kind of small. I feel like it kind of takes some effort to get a good grip on them and even find them. So, again, not crazy about that. So, I mean, but I didn't buy this really for the style. I just bought it because I wanted something else in this pattern, and I'll probably use it for something else other than toiletries, because it just doesn't seem, I wanted something with an exterior in this for travel, because I thought, going to a hotel room, maybe the countertop in the bathroom is a little damp, and you don't want to put your signature cotton on there without wiping it down. This is much more forgiving, right? You just put it down, then you pick it up and you wipe it off, and it's sort of water resistant. But you can just see how floppy it is, that it makes me feel like inside everything's just going to be a big floppy mess and falling everywhere, no organization. So I don't think I'm going to end up using it that way, and it makes me wonder how the large blush and brush in a Lighten Up feels. Does it feel like it has enough structure for me? Would be my question now. I would probably want to see that in person before buying it. But having said all that complaining, I do love this pattern. So it was worth it just to get something else in this pattern before it disappears, because I feel like there aren't that many items around in it, any smaller items anyway, around in it anymore. So I just really do love it. There's not a thing about it. And I feel like I lucked out because, again, I bought this, I ordered it, so I couldn't pick out the pattern placement, and I got 2 thistle up front. So that's my favorite element, the thistle. So I'm glad I got 2 right there, in the front of the bag. Because in the back, there isn't much. There isn't much going on with the thistle. There's one or two. One there. The others are cut off. But again, I just love this pattern. I mean, whoever did this pattern is just kudos. It's just beautiful. It really is beautiful. It's very full and rich looking, just pattern-wise, or there's not a lot of background. The flowers are all very close together, but also the color scheme is just very lovely. So I do love that. So those are my Lighten Up things, and I'm very pleased with Lighten Up now. I feel another obsession coming on. But this was my wallet of the day for Wallet Wednesday. The All In One Crossbody, which I do recommend using as a wallet. I've been enjoying it as a wallet. It works really well. It's easy to find in your bag because it has a little substance to it. So it's easy to grab for in your bag. You don't have to search for it. It feels, I always say this about things, but it feels good in the hand. There's a width to it. It feels comfortable in the hand to hold. So I do like it. So those were my items of the day. Thanks again for watching.